Welcome to today's episode. We have a special guest with us, Mr. Bronson Hill. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, excited to be here, man. It's good seeing you online. I know we spent a little time in Cabo a little while ago, but it's this is the second best thing, right? Hanging out over Zoom.
Absolutely, man. It was such a great visit with you down in Los Cabos, Mexico. Love hanging out with you, man. You're a
It's
solid
fun.
dude as well as a great businessman.
Thanks, man. It was really good being with you, man. I just love when you get around people that are into personal development and growing, like it's just amazing. Like, that's like your world you live in. So I just so appreciate about that about you, Rudy.
Thanks, man. Thank you. And for our listeners who are maybe hearing about you for the first time, I just want to share a few bio points about you. So, Brunson not only is a really good looking bald dude that runs Spartan races and places top three in his class, he's also a general partner in a 2,000 multifamily unit uh, fund that has over $200 million worth of investment in multifamily units. So you lead multifamily meetups in California, Glendale specifically, and you're also the host of the Mailbox Money Show. And you recently had an event, a pretty big event here in LA that we're going to talk about here in a moment. And you released your book, which is now an Amazon bestseller, Fire Yourself, Replace Your Working Income with Passive Income in 3 years or less. Yes, please sign me up for that.
Don't we all want that, right?
Yes, you hit the nail on the head. Fire yourself. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's what we want to learn how to make money while we sleep. So that's what the whole focus of the book is. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. I'm actually going to ask you a few more questions about the book here towards the end of the interview, so our audience has an opportunity to know about the book, and maybe you can give an opportunity to know where to find the book, that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
um, Bronson, you recently did an event in LA. Tell us a little bit about the event. What was the name of the event, and what was the outcome, or what was the theme of the event?
Yeah. So it was called the Advanced Real Estate Investing Summit. We're going to do it next year as the Advanced Investing Summit. So it's going to be just a little shorter, but it's basically focused on real estate strategies, investing strategies, reducing taxes, really trying to get the highest level people in the room we can to try to learn as much as we can. And I find there's a lot of collaboration when you get just really amazing people in the room. So we had about 170 people. It was the first time we did it. We were hoping to get around 200 to 250, but we got 170, so we're happy with that, and we're hoping for twice as many next year. So working on just continuing to try to grow the brand and grow the event.
Awesome, man. So it was an advanced real estate investing seminar, about 170 people, and I believe was it one day, a day and a half type of
Yeah, it
event?
was a full day. It was like a Friday all day, but we did a Thursday evening for the VIPs. So next year we're committed to do like a 2.5 day event. So we're going to do 2 full days and then a half day, or like a night, the night before. We're figuring out kind of the details of it, but we're gonna do a little bit longer.
Awesome, man. Great, great that you're going to do that next year. So you had this event, you brought together real estate investors and different types of investors. 'Cause I got to see some of the lineup. You had some great speakers there, some great teachers, and let's jump right into dissecting your event. This was your first event, correct me if I'm wrong, your first event that you held?
Yeah, we do meetups we do a real estate meetup in Glendale, California. We usually I think we had 65 people last night. So we have a monthly meetup there. So that's been fun to kind of host those. But when you do, I mean, that's, for a couple hours, 2, 3 hours. When you do a full day event or you're doing multiple days, it's just a whole nother level. It's amazing how you have months of planning and then the minutes go by really fast. So it's kind of wild how you do so much planning and then the event just kind of flies by. But yeah, it's the first big event that we've done, and I had a partner I worked in the event with, and it was a very overall it was a very good experience. A lot of work, I was totally exhausted afterwards, but I think that's kind of the way it generally can be. So first one, but it was good.
Awesome, man. Way to go. Way to go. And what would you say are some of the wins from that event? I always like to highlight the victories or the wins.
Yeah, so the wins are, obviously, I don't think we haven't tallied it up yet. I think we about broke even. We may have, either lost a little bit or gained a little bit, but we had a moment about 6 weeks before the event where my partner on the event and I looked at each other and thought, I mean, we may end up losing like 15K each on this event. And so we have a lot of things we did to try to get more people there and to try to really push attendance, and it seemed to work. But we're just, we cut some expenses, did different things, but it worked out. But I think that one thing is, having like my partner and I on this are just really well matched to do it. So she's really good with the details. I was good at getting some really big speakers. So in real estate, the number one podcast in the real estate world is called the Bigger Pockets podcast. And we got the host of the Bigger Pockets podcast, David Green, was there. Ken McElroy is a friend of mine who did the forward to my book as well. He's a part of it. Neil Bawa. So there's some big influencers in the space. So I'm hoping, I kind of realized like one thing for me is like when you can anchor and you can get a couple big speakers. So my plan for this next year is to find out when Ken and David are available, if they, a couple to kind of make sure they can commit. And then once they're in, then I can go to other people and say, hey, we've got these speakers. Do you want to join as well? And this is the second time now. And it was a little challenging to get sponsors because it's the first time. We don't know if they're going to do this event. Nobody's going to show up. And so now that we've had a good turnout, we did have some sponsors, but I think it will be easier, hopefully, next year to get more sponsors.
Right on, man. Cool. So got a couple mix of wins there and also some challenges. Congratulations on getting the some big names, some pretty big names in your space there for your first official one-day event. That's excellent.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. It's always it's a push. I mean, you never know too, how it's going to work. Is it going to work the way you hope, or is it not? And there's always risk. And so being willing to risk, though, I think that's a healthy place to be if you're willing to do your part and do the best you can and look at a best and worst case scenario. And if you can handle both, and you likely will be okay. So.
Yeah. And can you maybe fill in the gaps a little bit about like what took place during that event? I know it was one day, so it won't take so long, but just kind of talk us through what that event looked like and how you structured it.
So we had, like I said, we had the VIPs. They paid more money to be there the day before. I think just in general, I mean, we realized just to do a meal, like not even a full meal, like a sit down, but just like hors d'oeuvres. It was like, I feel like it was like $200 a person or something. It was like really expensive. Part of it was including the room fee, and they just kind of charge you. They basically got the room for free, but they charge you for the food. They charge you kind of outrageously, and they have all the fees and the taxes. It's basically like a 50% markup on whatever the outrageous prices already are. And so we did that. And then during the full day event, we started about 8:30 in the morning. We had some panels. So we had like a real estate panel with 4 amazing people. And then I moderated that. We had an economics panel, which I also moderated. Then we had an alternative asset panel that my partner moderated. Then we had some keynotes as well. We had a couple sponsors get up and say a couple things. Next year, I got some ideas for things we can create, but it was really packed. We started at 8:30. We had a break in the morning. We had a lunch break, and then we had a break. I think we had an hour for lunch, and then we had a break in the afternoon. And then it finished. We wanted to finish right at 6 p.m. so that we could kind of continue on and have a happy hour and just continue to have everybody hang out and network and that kind of thing. So it was very action packed. And one of the issues we had in the beginning is that the AV crew that was there. They were not ready in time. They thought they could set everything up in the morning, and they showed up and they just were not ready. So it's like 10 minutes before we're supposed to start, and there's like crap everywhere. And so it's a little stressful, And so finally, like we're kind of getting past the time we said we're going to start. And I said, hey, just give me a microphone that works. Put this image up on these screens and let's get started. And you can figure out the rest of the break. I was like, let's just get this going. And so that was my most critical feedback to them was just, hey, I don't want to start 15 minutes late next year. I want you guys to come in the day before and get it all set up, and then we can just sound check it in the morning, because it was a little stressful.
Okay. I can imagine. Yeah, because you only got one day and you got so many big names and people are waiting, and you don't have 30 minutes to wait because you got everything lined up.
Yeah. When we got back on time, so it was okay. And people really didn't notice. They're out talking and it was fine. But, as an organizer, especially when you have an event like that, where you're like, we really want to be on schedule here. And, if something sets you back like that, that's just not even part of your event. It's just like it's an AV issue or something. Like that's like, it's one thing if a speaker goes a little long, but if it's just like, hey, we're waiting for an extra, 15 minutes, that's not, I don't know. Maybe that's a me thing. I just really try to be respectful of people's time. And, that was, and most people again didn't really pick up on that, but we picked up on that. It was a little stressful.
Yeah, I imagine so. So kind of along that same vein, I like to talk about, lessons learned, right? Now you've done your first event, you went through the experience, and now you have a bunch of things that you've made, things that didn't work as well as you would have hoped they would have, and things you might do differently. I'm curious if you'd like to share maybe some of those things that didn't work as well as you would have hoped, and what lesson you learned from that.
Yeah, so the AV one, that was a learning there. I think one thing I've noticed, I just went to an event with Brendan Bouchard and Mylette I was telling you about, and they had just such a great job when they would like have people come to the stage. They would just really like kind of get the crowd all worked up and get the music going, and people stand up and start clapping and dance. Just kind of like doing a little more of the hype, right? Getting people a little more into it, getting the physiology into it. And so I really want to do that next year, is just really make sure that we have really good music between. We're really spending time, and people get up, like just kind of really encouraging people to get excited. I think that's one thing. Another thing I think we talked about. I had to kind of talk my partner into this a bit, but to do a 2.5 day event really is not that much more work than doing a 1.5 day event. And so just adding another day, it's not like it's more work, but it's not like a lot more work. It's just another day, and you're already there, and people are already there, and it actually gives people more of a chance to really come in and fly from across the country. If it's just kind of like a day, a lot of people don't want to come from the East Coast to LA to do that, right? So if you have something that's a little bit longer, it gives more time. Also, I know you and I have talked about it, gives a little more credibility too. If you have a longer event, it just kind of really sets you up in that way that you're that leader in the industry, which that's kind of what we were going for as well. So those are a couple things. And then some of the sponsors we've had, I think, continuing to follow up with them. We were able to kind of negotiate a couple sponsorships, like kind of right at the end. We had a couple decent sized sponsorships that came in through like just, kind of at the 11th hour. So that was kind of cool to see. And so just, again, it's just the learnings that happen. It's just the little things. And then I think as far as promotion, I really want to try to play around or get an ad agency or somebody involved with ads. We were really not. We tried a little bit of ads, but we just were not successful at all. And so we cut it and just tried to do a bunch of kind of affiliate and tried to have people that were speaking promote and things like that. But a lot of people, they don't want to promote your event, right? So that's the challenge of how do you effectively promote an event and get people there. And so I need to actually pick your brain a little bit more on that, Rudy, on how to effectively promote an event to get the right people in the room.
Yeah, it's actually, you asked that. I think that's probably one of the most common questions that come up, is how to promote, how to get more people to the room. That's like the universal challenge for
Yeah,
for events.
yeah, right.
Yeah, that's it. That's the nail right there. Um, awesome, man. Well, thank you for being so open about your first event and some of the wins, as well as some of the things that didn't work as well as you could have, and some of the things you'd consider doing differently the next time around. I know this is just the beginning of now you adding events to your business model, now going to expand with a 2.5 day event and continuing to go from there. But you're really excited to maybe have you back on the show here once you know, get the next iteration under your belt and learn more about what you learned from that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
love. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I would love to take the next few minutes to actually hear more about your book. Just came out, Amazon bestseller. Tell us about Fire Yourself. How do we replace our active income with passive income in 3 years or less?
yeah. So this book really comes from the Warren Buffett, learn how to make money while you sleep, or you're work until you die. So a lot of entrepreneurs were great at making money, we're great at hustling, we're great at getting out there and making it happen. But there comes a point where you don't want to do that anymore, or maybe you're not able to. The business, you sell the business, or maybe there's a health issue, or there's a family member or something, and be able to have passive income as a baseline is huge because it gives you a lot of flexibility. And so this book just talks about, if you've only kind of maybe invested in stocks or had a money financial person, it's just talking, with the money you're making, how do you actually grow your wealth, and in things like real estate and other assets. And there's ways you can do it where it's more passive, where you're not managing properties. And a lot of people think it's, passive investing is owning single family houses, or it's trading stocks online or something. I don't think either of those are really passive, because they're not really scalable and they don't produce a lot of cash. And so we've found things like real estate, multifamily real estate, ATM machines, car washes. And so that's what our business does. But the book just kind of talks about how do you vet this, these types of investments? How do you find these deals? What are some of the risks involved? Just try to give people a good framework, so when they finish, they can say, oh, I feel like I've got a good picture of what this looks like and how to start getting invested in passive deals.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, I totally relate to that as an entrepreneur and running the hamster wheel and knowing that, hey, sometimes, not all the time, so I've built some systems in place, but sometimes when I'm not putting the energy in, that the money doesn't come in, come back. So I love the
Yeah.
idea of turning that active income into passive income so that, it's not 100% relying on me to show up every day. Right. So such an important message that I can't stress enough for event leaders who are listening to this. You have so much energy, so much effort goes into the event. Hopefully you have a great experience and you make great money at your event. But what do you do with that money? Right? Do you continue doing events because you have to for cash flow purposes? Or do you take that cash, create passive income, and then continue to do events because that's what you feel called to do, or that's just the right action to take in your business versus I must do this because this is the way the money comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, it's a totally different experience, both as an attendee and as a leader when you're doing the event because it's something you're called to do or something that's the right action versus like, oh, if we don't do this event and we don't make money at this event, and like we don't have money, right? It's a different
Yeah,
energy. Yeah.
totally. And people sense that. I mean, it's really like when you do it because you love it or you do it out of legacy and like I have financial freedom, so I do it because I want to do it. Right? I don't have to. We don't have to work. I can kind of do whatever. But I want to do it because I want to contribute. Right? And it gives you. You come from a totally different place than just, hey, I'm just trying to make this hustle and sooner or later. I mean, we get it when we get it. So I wish I'd gotten it sooner. I know some guys in their 20s that are doing tons of investing and big apartment deals and all this. And that's great. But like we get it when we get it. When the student is ready to teach your peers, and that's that worked for me. And so I just have to be people's guide and teacher kind of on that path as well.
Yeah, wonderful, man. And speaking about being a teacher and a guide, can you share with us the best way to find your book? How can we go get your book?
Yeah, if you just search Bronson Hill, which is my name, and Fire Yourself, you'll find it online. It's on Amazon, it's on Audible, it's on all the sites. So happy to connect that way, or you can just go to my website, bronsonequity.com, and there'll be some information about it as well.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And I do know that you put out very regular content like interviews and 10-minute videos on almost like a weekly basis, right?
I just recorded some today. We talk about economics, we talk about, investing, we talk about all kinds of, networking and just I mean, just kind of all around this topic, right? How do you invest? How do you find deals? How do you vet them? What are your mistakes? What are things to watch out for? All the stuff, because it's, again, the best investment I always say that you can make really is in your own education. So if you're investing in yourself, and I know you're a big fan of kind of personal investment as well, I think you take a pride in actually, how much money you spend on investing in yourself and being in the right rooms. And so I think, reading books it's incredibly valuable, and learning and going to events. So I think it's really important. So for sure.
Awesome, brother. Yeah, you too, man. I know you're a lifelong learner. So
Yeah.
for our audience, I'm actually going to pick up your book right away and encourage you to learn how to fire yourself, turn your active income into passive income, turn that event income into some passive income so that you can take a break sometimes. All right, Rosa, thanks for being on our show today. Really appreciate you taking the time, and we'll go ahead and call it a wrap. Thank you.
Sounds good, Rudy. Thanks so much.